We are now ready to dive into our next panel session, which promises to be just as insightful. Up next, we will have a discussion on retail's next big thing. Guess what? That is emerging tech that's set to disrupt the industry. All right, so I've introduced the topic. Coming next is now let me introduce the person who would be leading this discussion. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, who is a seasoned professional with a wealth of experience, Mr. Siju Narayan, Chief Experience Officer at RexEmptor Consult LLP. Please put your hands together and welcome on stage our moderator, Siju Narayan. Welcome, sir. Siju Narayan will be joined by an esteemed panel of experts. Let me introduce them to you. Mr. Anil Menon, CIO of LuLu Group, India. Please put a huge round of applause. Mr. Ashim Ashok Patil, MD and CEO of i-TEK RFID. Welcome on stage, sir. Dr. Biswajit Rath, Head of Analytics. No. Mr. Kiran Kamatla, who is the Group CTO, Restaurant Brand Asia Limited, Burger King. Please give a huge round of applause to him. Welcome on stage, sir. Sanjay Chakraborty, Chief Digital Officer, Adani Realty. Welcome, sir. Please give a huge round of applause once again. Tirthankar Shetri Mayum, Technical Marketing Lead, RFID, South Asia and Middle East, Every Denizen. Welcome on stage, sir. Now, collectively, we will please put a huge round of applause for our distinguished panelists. And now, without further ado, I will also hand over the discussion to our moderator, Siju Narayan, sir. Over to you.
Hi, good afternoon. Excellent. So, since we are such a dynamic lot out here, let me start off with a simple question. How many of you managed tickets to the Coldplay concert? How many? How many attempted? Now you understand the reason why we are all in this room today. We are not going to go for the Coldplay concert, right? Another question. Let's just warm things up. What's the name of the concert? Sorry? Louder? Music of the Spheres. World of Spheres? Music of the Spheres. I can see Google frantically happening. So you know what happened today morning on Spotify, right? A Coldplay song was the most searched, right? So obviously, a lot of people who've booked tickets haven't heard Coldplay yet. And there were 1.5 lakh tickets, and I guess there were about 3 crore applications, or 3 crore attempts to book a ticket, right? So on that account, welcome to this session. This session is, the panel topic is so long that I couldn't mug it up. Retail's next big thing, emerging technology that's set to disrupt the industry. Okay, that reminds me, how many of you got NFC on your phones? NFC on your phones? Okay, and I don't know how many of you realized, because thanks to Ashim, as soon as you entered the room, you were charged 30 rupees for attending this session. I'm not kidding. Seriously. Okay, but that day is not going to be far off, right? And that's what we're going to explore today. We've got a very fantastic panel out here. Can we have a louder round of applause? We need to be louder than the other room. Thank you so much. Wonderful. So we have folks who represent malls, who make you spend all the money, right? People who sell you burgers, and people who are in reality. And then there are people who make it easier for these guys to do these things to you, right? Essentially the service providers. So welcome Anil, Ashim, Kiran, Sanjay and Tirthankar. So what we'll do is, since the focus is on emerging technology, we will subject these gentlemen to a series of questions in terms of understanding what is it that they're doing on the technology front today, right? And we will, since we've got a limited amount of time, we will restrict ourselves to maybe 4 or 5 pieces of technology and understand what is it that they're doing, right? We don't want global GAN, right? Anyone wants global GAN? That's it. One person saying no. No, right? So we'd like to understand from them. But of course, please be cognizant of the fact that they might speak from the perspective of the industry they represent and not really the company. Yeah? So we'll have to give them that leeway. Now, with that thought, let me set the ball rolling and understand from you, gentlemen. And first, I would like to ask the retailers, right? In terms of one of the most talked about technologies the last few years has been IoT, right? And but preceding all of that is the need to create an in-store experience ecosystem. And especially since the onslaught of e-commerce and omni-channel, multi-channel, you name it, there has been this imperative to get the in-store experience correct. I would like to hear from 2 or 3 of you in terms of how, within your physical premises, have you adopted technology to deliver customer experience, in-store customer experience? Anyone? Kiran, you want to go? Sure.
Yeah, thanks, Siju.
And yes, you can ask questions in between. Okay? You can challenge them, negate them, say, I know I went in for a piece of burger, I didn't get it. You can do all that.
Yeah. So if you see from last 10 years, there's more of e-commerce. So all brick and mortar businesses inevitably moved into online businesses. They created omni-channel platforms, uni-channel platforms. The last bit to cover is what you're doing within your retail space, which is your restaurant or your retail outlets or showrooms. So that's an area where it has to be more creating a digital experience to customers. That's what started after COVID. Post-COVID, it's not that a retailer is implementing some solution that customer is using. It's other way around. Customer is more tech savvy now. Customer demand things to be more on digital. So now I can just quote you example based on QSR industry. If you go into any QSR industry, quick service restaurant, so its service is quick. So if you see in front of any outlet postil, you see 4 or 5 people standing, ordering for burgers or pizzas, and you'll be a lot influenced by the cashier. He says, add extra patty, add cheese. This is how it used to be. So now this is completely transformed, and it's transforming into more of digital experience. Today, if you see the same QSR industry is offering a fine dine experience. They allow you to sit on a table and order by scanning a QR code. It will take you to the menu and you can order what you want, not influenced by a cashiers. Mostly the influenced meal is adding a extra cheese or double cheese in your meals. So here now you can order what you want. Similarly, there is other touch points like self-ordering kiosk, where customer comes, he select what he want in the menu ladder and order by himself, and he choose what the sides he want and what the drink he want. So this is, from the customer point of view, this is completely changing the customer experience, and it is giving customer leeway to add what he want, and he can order what he wanted to eat. That's how that is helping customer, and it's giving a better experience, not like standing in a line for ordering a food. And when it comes to a retailer side, what we see is if you have to have 3 or 4 cash tills manned by cashiers, and it is very impossible to have a pan-India presence and maintaining the standard of brand and trying to sell, because when someone is trying to sell, then they will use what they want to sell, right? They will try to influence you. So that is gone. And these people are being well trained to create a customer experience, talk to customer, understand customer feedback. So now you have people around in the restaurant who will be attending to the customer. So that's completely going to change the experience, and it's also going to change the way how restaurants or the retail outlets are serving to the customer in the restaurants or retail outlets. This is also creating a big operational experience improvement for the retailer and also a lot of cost saving. When you have 3 or 4 tills, you need to have 3 shifts into so many people. Now, one person standing in front of 4 or 5 self-ordering kiosks, they will be just assisting you if you are going wrong somewhere or if you are not able to make the payment. So that's how it is really helping to change. And the big thing what will happen is we will be having the data of customer. In the retail, the biggest thing is having a data which can be mined and you can personalize what customer want, and it can be helped to understand the likes and dislikes and change the menu ladder and make it more personalized. So that's how these kind of in-store experiences with the digital platforms are completely transforming. Over last 2 years, if you can see, most of the QSRs are changing the way how they are approaching in the in-store experience of the QSR outlets.
So just to ask you, was it, what made you adopt this technology? Was it a consumer demand or was it a strategic imperative from your side?
As I said, this is not a new technology. Pre-COVID also, this was tried, tested by many retailers and many restaurants also. It did not work because customer did not adapt. At that time, customer wanted someone to serve them. Right now, the mindset of customer is changed. Customer want to choose what he want. He don't want someone influencing. Even personally, if I go somewhere, if someone try to influence me saying, you take this, that will not please me because I know what I want. The maturity of customer is also increasing, and more of the tech-savvy customers doesn't like that. So we can see that today, if you see after doing this journey, at QSRs, we are seeing somewhere close to 90% of transaction happening digitally, and even the payment through either UPA, 50% contribution is UPA, and remaining is coming from either credit card or other wallet payments.
So how many of you in the audience use digital technology when you order for a burger in a mall?
How many don't use is a right question.
No, because you said 90%, I just wanted to see is, how does it reflect here in this room? But I think that's a fairly large number, and the adoption seems to be pretty good, right? So what this shows is that the people who raise their hands don't want extra cheese in their burger. The people who didn't raise their hands want to go up to the cashier so they can be forced to take extra cheese.
You can add cheese in there.
Anything else that you would want to add, Anand?
If you want.
I think it's more category based. An experience, a customer experience for food vis-a-vis fashion, vis-a-vis grocery, all have a different thought process. So if you have to look at it, for people like us who run hypermarkets, we cater to all the categories possible. Fresh foods, fashion, grocery, white goods, all of it. And the same customer has a different thought process or satisfaction level at each category levels. For us, it becomes challenging to make sure that where do I get this customer satisfied to a level where he says that, okay, as LuLu, we are good. He may have a bad experience somewhere else. He may have a good experience as fashion. So what we try to do is we try to go with the customer. When I say go with the customer, data, all of that plays a back-end part of it. It is not as easy as said, go with the customer, but we try to empower our customer service or customer sales representatives with as much as data the customer can have. And that's where the mojo comes out. That Siju walks in and I know, yeah, hi Siju, how are you? Last time you got this, what are you looking for this time? How has been your experience? Taking that back to the core team, and that's where then technology plays a role.
It happens today?
It happens today. And that's where we are now. I may not say we are good there, but it's a journey, as we say. Today, if I come to know that a particular Siju is coming to my store and he's not getting a particular brand, he's not getting a particular size, this goes back to my warehouse or to my buyer, stating that this is the percentage of people who are going back because there is no shopping happening around this part and so on and so forth. That's the agility which you're trying to bring in. That's more transparency which you're trying to bring in. So where's technology in this, right? Where's technology in this? Making sure your persona on all my channels are brought into a single platform and then curated to the next level of buying or procuring or being there, right? Cost is obviously a factor. So productivity is one, amalgamation of all these technologies in bits and pieces in all your touch points, getting that back to a core system. That is where we are now working on, and it's a journey. I'm not saying that we are very good out there. If you ask me how many of them are there, no one will raise their hand right now. But yes, surely you will start getting that feel of it and how we get that experience to you, both on all the possible channels which we work on.
No, thank you, Anil. I think if you listen carefully to what both Kiran and Anil said, there's a stark difference between managing in-store digital framework for a single brand business vis-a-vis a multi-brand business like a hypermarket, right? Now, so I think this is very critical for folks who are interested in this and who are making a living in this to understand that the driving factors in both these cases are very, very different. Like Anil said, we don't really know because the uh, the affinity to digital is differentiated by the category, right? And one needs to be cognizant of that. I think that's a fantastic bit of distinction that both these gentlemen got to the table. Ashim, you've seen a lot of activity in this area, and I'm sure you worked with a lot of clients in their in-store, and I'm strictly, limiting yourself to in-store technologies. What have you seen, prevalent these days?
Yeah. So thank you, Siju, for this question. So we are in the space of providing IoT-based solutions for supply chain traceability and inventory count. And this is having applications at the merchandise manufacturer and at the DC or the warehouse and also in store. For us, when we say we build solutions which are customer-centric, there are two aspects to it. One is our direct customer, who is a retailer, and then our customer's customer, who is actually the consumer. So we have to think from both perspectives. So we get into the shoes of the consumer, and we get into the shoes of our real customer, who is the retailer. So there are a lot of use cases which we have built, a lot of success stories we have built in and around the supply chain, which is, and the store is a part of it. And when we talk of, I'll give you use cases and stories for both my customer and my customer's customer. So if we talk of in-store experience, we recently concluded inbound outbound movement solution based on RFID for one of our customer, where they used to receive apparels in the night shift, and they used to receive few hundred cartons of these apparels, and they used to run night shifts across the 600 stores, and there used to be 6 people who used to do the scanning for around 10 hours by opening each and every box and then putting it into the back of store and the replenishment and everything. Now, with the use of technology, we built a special apparatus called the i-TEK shell for them, wherein an entire carton or a handling unit is scanned in less than 2 to 3 seconds. So what used to take 60 hours, 10 hours, 6 people, is now done in 30 minutes by 2 people. So and from 1st of April at this customer, the entire night shift operations have been shut down across 600 stores pan India. So this is something which we have done, just one of the use case for our customer. Now, another use case what Anil just mentioned is getting the right size and all. One use case which I can mention apart from a lot of other use cases in store for the consumer is typically in a e-commerce kind of a buying pattern, all your interests or your touch points are captured. So if I touch a white shirt and then I move into a pink trouser or a shoe or whatever, the touch points are captured. But in a brick and mortar store, you don't get a track of it. So we have something which is an analytic layer which is running behind our IoT platform. And one such example is we put scanners at the fitting room. Okay, and we give a very simple analytic is what is being tried versus what is getting sold. So and these analytics is working fantastic for our retailers, because sometimes there are products which are attracting the eyeballs but not converting it into a sale, you know. And some products are never going to the fitting room and still getting sold. So the entire planogram, the entire journey of ordering in future, and such use cases are also built in
Sure.
store. So these are the two which I would just like to.
No, that's fantastic to hear. In fact, the first part of what you just said was more about at the back office, but then that has such tremendous impact on how the front end works, which is the store floor works. So it's very, very clear that the two aspects that are being impacted are customer service and operational efficiencies, right? Or customer experience and operational efficiencies. Now, Sanjay, you of course under Adani Realty, if you could just let us all know. I'm not sure how many of the folks know about Adani Realty, but if you could just give a quick intro in terms of what is it that you do as part of Adani Realty, and again the question back to you in terms of whether in-store experience or on-premise experience plays a part.
No, thank you, Siju. So I represent Adani Realty. Adani Realty is the business of building apartments, building real estates, and of course we sell it, retail it, right? So it's interesting. So allow me to set the context here. When you talk about retail in today's world, what comes in your mind? It comes in your mind is an app, e-commerce, or even you can talk about a shopping mall, hypermarket, supermarkets, right? So what has digital got to do in selling a property? So let me give you that context. See, we look at our digital intervention in two pockets. One is the interventions which we make to increase our top line. So how do we sell better? And of course, the other one, that how do we manufacture or how do we make better buildings and do this. Now, as a customer, if he has to buy my product, our product is an apartment, right? It's little different than selling a burger or selling some FMCGs, because we have an advantage though, because we don't need a warehouse to keep our products, right? And also, we do not need to deliver it at your place. You will come and buy this product. So, but customer need to be aware. So we use all digital channels, omni channels, to make people aware of our products. And our website, we manage the traffics. We see about few thousands of leads are coming, and we call them as a lead before they become a customer. Then the next step comes is the customer needs our help to make the decision, right? So we provide them all the necessary helps online so that he can know and he can decide. And third thing which happens is that he makes a decision, he does a transaction with me. So that's the third experience it gets. And since he remains my customer till the handover of a project, so that's the fourth touch points which you have. Now, you started talking about technologies, the emerging technologies which you are doing. Of course, I don't go and deliver the product to my customer's doorstep, but what I do is I explain my product at their mobile phones. So we use AR, we use VR, so that he gets a feel of his product before he actually buys into it. We use extensive customer data profiling, so we know who is a likelihood of buying it. We look at various kinds of ratios, lead to deal conversion ratios, and so on. We use a lot of advanced AIs in that. And of course, our entire CRM, which it's a significant CRM business which you have. We try to roll out a red carpet to the customer so that we get much more referral businesses from us. For registration purposes, we are using blockchain to do e-registrations. We are using RFIDs, IoTs to manage our constructions. We are using a lot of AI and analytics to make our business run faster, make meaningful decisions.
Sure. So, Sanjay actually covered the entire aspect of all the technologies that they use, as part of the realty business, because it's a very, very different product. Right now, coming to you, Tirthankar. So, what does Avery Dennison do in terms of ensuring that the customer engagement, operational efficiencies, all are accelerated by the use of digital and / technology?
Thank you for the question, Biju. I mean, we as an organization, for us, when we look at the retail industry, because we are into many segments and retail is one of the segments, What we focus is that in the future, especially in retail, it's going to be majorly focused towards frictionless shopping. That's the key word, right? Now, all the technologies that enable this frictionless shopping is what is going to take us to the next direction for the next 5 years. So we believe that technologies like RFID, AI, facial recognition, these are the ones which are going to enable the frictionless shopping. And there are multiple examples. Like Uniqlo is one of our biggest customers globally. They are already doing this concept of frictionless shopping in their stores across the world. Decathlon is another example. So we are seeing this, and what we are seeing is that when we go deep dive into retail specific thing in the demographic of where the maximum sales is happening, what we have come to know is that 16 to 24 is the age group which has the maximum spending power with respect to buying things on a regular basis. And for them, time, of standing in a queue, they're very impatient in general as a generation. So they would prefer to do their own shopping or self-checkout, as we call it, uh, and make it as independent as possible from the entire, the other things which take so much time, right? So, and in that journey, we have heavily invested into RFID. We have over 1,800 patents in this technology itself. We've been in this industry for about 35 odd years, and globally, 70% of the retail market with respect to RFID implementation across the globe, AV Dennison has been, proudly associated with it. You name any global brand, Adidas, Nike, Lululemon, anybody, it's RFID tags. 80% of them would use our tags. So we have been very successful, and also the fact that as we move towards a more, I would say, challenging market with respect to the customer base, it's very important for us to enable a digital footprint or a digital track. And one of the ways to enable that is when every physical asset has a digital identity, right? And that gives you the required data to do your data mining, to do your marketing, to get into the likes and dislikes of a customer. And at present, the only technology which can actually do that in a cost-effective manner is RFID technology, which gives you the visibility from physical to the a digital portal when you do the transformation. And in future, as this technology adapts, in India, it's less than 10%. So we have a huge market to go.
So, Tirthankar, I'm sorry, but I'll just request you to hold your thought there, because you mentioned about RFID, which actually gets me to the next part of the discussion in terms of IoT. And when the moment you talk about RFID, you're talking about traceability. You're talking
Yes.
of being able to map the entire journey. From your experience of working with retailers in India, what is it that you've seen as significant use cases of using IoT? And these should be real use cases, right? And what do you see is in let's say, Uniqlo abroad, right, which can be adopted by retailers here in India? I think that the audience will be very keen to know.
See, we take it from a maturity prospect of the market regionally. So I would say the most developed market with respect to RFID adoption is the US. Then comes Europe, and we fall somewhere in between. Southeast Asia and Asia is sort of similar. So if you see the adoption of RFID technology specific to India as a region, it's less than 10%, right? We still have a lot to grow. But one of the reasons a lot of the big companies in India, we are working with quite a few big ones here in India as well. One is track and trace and source tagging. Also, ultimately, we will be seeing it at the store level, right? One of the global brands which is already doing it here would be Decathlon. They already have self-checkout systems. But local Indian brands as well, over the next at least 1.5, 2 years, you would see them going in that direction. So the maturity level is coming there.
And what's the imperative? What is the need to do this?
See, data mining is one of the core for them to understand, for example, if we take a particular SKU, whether is this doing well, how much is it coming on time, or how much do we have this in stock? All that visibility, you can get it through RFID, because each and every SKU has a unique digital identity, right?
Sure.
I can give brand names, but officially we are not allowed to speak about brand names. But as Ashim was pointing out, we have reduced GRN process from 3 days to 4 hours, right? And also the fact that this brand was ordering their backup or backend based on, not on sales, but on the order pattern that was happening, which was actually affecting their in-house inventory. So now they know exactly that I need to order 10 red, 1 white, and 5 to make sure that each and every item is there in the stock, right? So that is the level of visibility. and the fact of the purchasing pattern of the customers, which they again, a very good example would be one of the largest, there are only two in India, e-com players. So one of them actually did an in-house brand based on the buying patterns of the age group, that this age likes this color, this is the size that generally fits in this, and this is the design pattern, and they launched it online.
Can you name the brand?
Now, officially we cannot, but I'm just saying that they created a brand new brand, and the first year of sales they crossed $100 million. That is the power of data, right?
No, excellent. I'm not sure how many in the audience really thought that one of the use cases of IoT could be to build a brand or shape up a brand specific, in line with whatever analytics one gets out of that exercise. I think that's brilliant. That's for a lot of retailers to look at. Now, honestly, do you work with any of these three?
Yes, we work with Ashim. LuLu, yes, we do it, but more with the Middle East.
Okay.
Because
And
that's their...
Burger King
Burger King, no. KFC, I think we are...
and Adani?
Adani. Real estate is something which we have not ventured into yet, but...
Do you just realize that I've become your business development manager sitting here on stage? But thank you so much, Tirthankar. That's good to hear. Now, coming to both of you, Anil and Kiran, how have you used IoT, if you've used, or RFID technologies in your business so far, and how do you see it scaling up in the years to come?
IoT, yes. But from a customer experience perspective, when you talk about customer experience, it's always somehow related to the product and so on and so forth. But how we use it, maintaining our AC temperatures, looking at what is the crowd at the store. Our hypers are, by God's grace, largely almost all the time filled up there, crowded, all of it. We have to actually manage this, and there's a huge potential in managing your ACs, your electricities, your bulbs, your lights. All of them make a lot of difference, right? And this eventually gets back to your commercials, your billing patterns, and so on and so forth. When we save somewhere, we actually transfer it into more a customer and so on and so forth. So this cycle which we work on, both from a retail perspective and from a mall perspective also, we use a lot of it. Largely, as I said, one is HVAC, as they call it, your electricities and all of that, lightings, bulbs, and all of that put together. The next part is on your cameras, how do you make sure your digital cameras or your analog cameras are then brought back into a analytical tool, right? And then given back to the customer. Say, for example, what I'm trying to say is that, as Sanjay was rightly saying, that people are walking into the mall, right? What is the pattern of the mall, first of all? How do you make sure that the heat mapping happens properly? Secondly, is this data given back to the retailer? How does the retailer make sure that that particular data is then worked around with them, and then they use their IoTs to display, or IoTs or maybe other technologies, or amalgam of technologies, to display the right product or right ad or right sense or right sustainability factors, for the matter of fact, on the digital screens. So you can actually move this, and we are doing this. We're doing it as POCs and other factors, but we actually work on all of this, making sure the retailers are empowered with the data which we carry on. It's more of a collaborative manner, right? I see a lot of service providers, I see a lot of partners here who are actually growth partners to you. And this data from an IoT devices, even as small as this is third example, on your parking lots.
Okay.
How are you going to manage your parking lots? That also is a customer experience.
Correct.
Right now, when you always talk, this is all about product, and so we are trying to break it up into 2 or 3 factors. Your air conditioning, you're collaborating with your partners, giving them back the data and trying to make sure that the mall environment is okay. And third is the experience of parking.
No, that's excellent. And you did a wonderful thing of getting in that whole aspect about the cost of HVAC, the cost of the lighting and all. So let me just ask the audience, just to kind of make sure that everyone's with us. What percentage of cost do you think energy costs, you know, contribute to? Or what percentage of cost can be attributed to energy consumption? 5 to 6. I hear 5 to 6. Yes? Anyone else? Energy cost as a percentage of total cost of, let's say, a retailer or a mall. Anyone who doesn't respond, I'll have to call on stage and ask them to sing a Coldplay song. Sorry, someone said 20. I heard 5, 6, and 20. Anyone? I wasn't really serious about that NFC stuff, huh? So it's okay, you will not be auto-debited. What's the number really like?
It's far more than that. Far more than that.
Double digits?
Need and double digits?
Double digits? No.
It also depend upon the business model, right? So let me tell you, see, IoT is predominantly used more of energy optimization, entire utility management. And in our case, when it comes to a restaurant, you have a whole lot of mechanical engineering in making the food ready. So all equipment has to maintain certain temperature. Like a small example, if fries has to be fried, it has to be fried in a certain temperature and in certain seconds of time. If it is less or more, it is waste. It's not being used. So if we have hundreds of restaurants across Pan India, maintaining this or being put as a guidelines is not possible. So it has to be completely managed by IoT automated, so which throws a red flag. Like for example, a fryer is frying, once it completes 180 seconds, it beeps, and if the beep is not addressed, it will automatically shut down the machine also. Okay, this is one of the use case which we use in the kitchens. This will optimize the cost. I don't say it will save cost, it will optimize, and it will also create your quality of the product. The next big thing what we see is, every retail outlets we have surveillance cameras, right? Some of the things like when it comes to food, every half an hour, every individual or every crew in the restaurant has to wash their hands till their elbows. This is mandate, and they have to have a hair caps. They have to wear a apron, the green and red for veg and non-veg. So these are standards, but it is next to impossible to man it or a manager or a supervisor to control. When we take this data from the camera and convert it into use case using the analytics, it throws the red flags. If anyone violates this, it will throw the red flag. So it's not only collecting data, but instantly in next 10 minutes, there is action taken. So these are like zero tolerance. We cannot tolerate. So these are the areas where these IoTs are really useful for us, because if I have a store in Dehradun, I can't sit here and dictate what to be done. It cannot be controlled like this. But with this IoTs, it is possible today. I can know what exactly is happening there. If any red flag comes, it comes as an alert. So that's how it's used.
I think, by the next ReTechCon, we'll probably have some kiosks in Burger King outlets, which will allow you to choose your fries, rare, well done. You never know, right? So it all depends.
If you see today, the number of items which are being sold are coming with the calorie details. It's not there maybe a year back. Now it's very transparent. If you choose to take a shake which is giving you 500 calories, or if you want to take a iced tea which is giving 100 calories, is your call.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And coming to you, Ashim, how have you seen retail in India take up on IoT and RFID devices to bring about operational efficiencies and making sure that customer experience is there?
So we cater to mostly the Indian market, a little bit in the US and Europe, but more than 95% of our business is India. And unlike what TK and Every is doing, they are a global company, one of the largest in RFID, and our solution is heavily dependent on the quality of tags which they supply, and we build on the tagging which is done by Every and the likes of Every in the world. Now, as a solution provider, whenever we are pitching a solution, the first thing is ROIs, and ROIs are directly linked with the use cases. How many use cases we have built? So we typically divide it into three buckets. One is, of course, cost optimization. Second is how you enhance the operational efficiency, and third is how you enrich the customer experience. As you rightly pointed to two, the third is cost optimization. Now, we quoted examples of wired IoT. RFID is under wireless IoT, okay, which is we can relate it to the. I have written a lot of blogs on that. RFID is the blockchain of the physical world. What blockchain is doing in the digital space, the traceability thing, we are doing it for the physical object. Okay, we don't cater to the consumer or the people identification in the store or the associate identification, but mostly on the object identification. I think the rock show has started.
It's a very interesting discussion, but if someone could take out the discotheque vibe out here, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
Thank you so
it's
much.
gone. So when we talk of India, to be specific, like TK mentioned that the penetration in India is just 10%, which I agree. And that's why we are very happy that because there is a big market for us to cater to. But when whatever exposure I have, we are working in RFID for last 25 years. I started this company right after my college 25 years ago. And since then we are a RFID company. So last 25 years, I have got exposure across business verticals in various markets. What I have found is, though the penetration in the US and Europe is much higher, the amount of unique use cases which we have built in India under these three buckets which I mentioned are much more than that. So across the US and the Europe, mostly RFID is source tagging and the traceability and all. But we have built use cases like off-ranging. We have built use cases, right? I mentioned like fitting room analytics. Within the self-checkout also, we have put so many flavors, the stock aging, the replenishment, the dynamic replenishment, the static replenishment. So many use cases are now built on as a solution provider that I think that the full use, uska jo nichod hai, RFID ka, the last drop of the investment. And then we are also making it more and more sustainable, more and more green, like India, because of our reusability mentality. The RFID chip has got a life of 50 years, data retention, and 100,000 write endurance cycles. We in India are also finding ways and means of reusing the RFID tag. I think this is something which is very unique to our country, and this is very much feasible in our country also because of the low labor cost comparatively globally, and also the unique automation processes which we are using in reusability. So we are maintaining the radio hygiene, we are contributing to lesser e-wastes. So that is also another intelligent use case we are building apart from the three use cases. So I think we are far ahead to the rest of the world when it comes to building use cases on the RFID. Though our penetration, we still have a long way to go.
So putting together what you're saying and what Tirthankar is saying, there's significant headroom for adoption of technology. We could be a little late in adopting technology, but in terms of use cases and our definitive ability to build about unique use cases really helps. Yes, Jugaad, or I call it creativity. Yeah, so that's much better. Now, coming to you, Sanjay, I would come to the next aspect, which is around augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality, mixed reality, call it whatever you want. I'm sure in the business space that you are in, or the category that you are in, this is something that you would have explored?
Absolutely. So that's, see, as I said, I cannot deliver a product to your house, to your doorstep, but I can deliver the experience in your house, right? Just think about it. You are going to buy a house. You want to sit and on the balcony and try to get a feeling of on a particular day in the summer, how my light is going to be in my balcony, okay, in the morning, where is the sun rising. You would like to see that from my balcony, what view I will get in the evening, right? These all we are doing today through augmented reality, right?
So it's in operation now.
It's in operation now. So you can actually know during the summer how your house will look like, during the winter house you will look like. We are giving the facility to fill your house. If you paint it red, how it will look like. If you put this furniture, how it would look like. So this is all is done. We use VR also to give you an walkthrough and all, but I won't say it is very successful. You need to bring people into your place to see this VR and all. But I can send it over the web. You can actually get a feel how your property is coming up. You can feel how the surrounding will look like.
I think that's a powerful, that's a very powerful imagery, right? How many of you agree to what Sanjay is talking about? Right? It's pretty neat, right? If you can at least get a sense of how much sunlight is coming to your house, what kind of, it's a different aspect that you might see greenery now, but then, in 3 months' time, Adani might put up another building. Jokes apart. But I think that's fantastic, and that's a good use of technology to enhance customer experience. The rest of you, have you used augmented reality, virtual reality in your businesses?
Yes, for sure.
And how did you do that?
It's the need of the hour now. It's not no more do we want to use it or how do we use it and all of it. We have to. Because customer is asking for it, and that's a big pull from the market, from the customer, to have the feel. Because most of us are working in some way or form on a digital platform, on your mobile, or someone is providing it on some app, right? I think we are just extending that and saying that now digital walls are more 3D and augmented reality and all of what put together. Again, as I said, all of what we are talking about is an augmentation of all the technologies underneath it, right? It is just not one particular technology who's delivering that customer experience to them. We have trying out with this, and we are heavily now, in fact, if you look at retailers, they're heavily working on this platform. The only challenge there is content. If somehow we can get this content running around, I think the adaptability of that will become far more what we have right now. Now it may be around 10% and 15% what we use. I think it will go far further to that because that's a huge cost implication towards how you project this.
Anil, can you give me a specific use case of how it is used at your end?
Oh yeah, for sure. See, basically it's largely used in fashion, and then it's white goods. In fashion, how do we use it is all your garments and everything which you wear around, they are brought onto a old school, but the digital mirror, you use them, you stand in front of them, it shows you how it works and everything. That's been used. But other than this, we are also trying to use that on the shelf itself. So that when you're coming to pick up one of the garments or of it, you have a digital wall there which will actually project how it should be worn, what are the accesses to it, how does it look on a human being, and so on and so forth. Previously, what we used to do is we used to take a mobile, we used to look at it and see how it looks, and then you take a picture, you put it onto that, and so on and so forth. Now it's on your wall itself. The camera scans you around, and then once you are scanned around there, it makes you feel when you pick up the particular device, thanks to RFID and others, we know which one is picked up and so on and so forth, and then pull it up.
So which Lulu mall can we go to experience this?
Kochi.
Kochi. How many of you are game to going to Kochi? Right? Okay. So that's good to hear. Anyone else wants to add in terms of how they're using AR, VR? I'll come to you, Ashim. Just that anyone else? If no, then Ashim, he says he needs content. Then utilization will go much beyond the 10% that he's doing so. What have you seen?
Content, of course, is the undercurrent for all of this. And so what RFID is doing is we are giving a quick lookup for that content. And talking about AR, we are using AR and VR for as our sales tools. So AR, we design huge tunnels for RFID, which are like 7 meters by 2 meters, and we cannot carry tunnels to such shows also for demonstrating to our customers. So whenever we go to a warehouse and all, we have our AR app where we can actually show the entire tunnel, how much space it will occupy in the DC or in the store or whatever. So we are using AR for that. For VR, what we do is, many of the customers who want to experience how the physical inventory in a store would work, we have our meta glasses which they wear, and they can select the kind of store like an apparel store or a digital electronic store, and how many pieces they have, and they can actually go in and around the store and do a search or a PI and all. This is how we are using AR and VR.
So
And
you're using this internally to train your employees, or you're using
both
to?
for training, less for training, because for training we believe in the real thing, the real stuff, but more from the pre-sales tools, for sharing the experience of how the solution will work. We are with a quick setup kind of a thing. So AR and VR we are using very extensively in our sales pitch.
So the retailers can also do the same, right?
Yes, absolutely. And they are, we got the ideas from the retailers. They are actually doing it much more depth than what we are doing, and we just adopted from them.
Sure. And Tirthankar, have you seen a similar kind of a, uh, thought going in the AR VR part of it?
You mean augmented reality or?
Yes. And mixed reality, whatever you would want to call
So yeah, I mean, we have done for a few brands. We have done for Amrut. We have done for a brand in the US called Wolf's Barrel, which is into, I think they make rum. So yeah, we do. That's mainly to engage the customers with respect. Once you scan it, sort of a character pops out, tells you the history about that brand and the different ways that you can have this brand. More than that, I think when it comes to the future, what we're going to go into within the next, I would say 5 to 10 years, would be manless shops. A lot of that would start coming up. We are already seeing this in Southeast Asia. We have done for a brand called JDX, where we have used RFID, AI, and facial recognition to actually have a manless store, frictionless shopping. And uh, as the labor cost keeps coming up, I think this is the way a lot of these brands will go into. And we're going to be seeing this. And this started because of the pandemic, which sort of indirectly, a lot of people used to stay in house. So technology reliance started off. And as a trend in retail, since we are, I would say, the enablers for the RFID tech space for retail, we are also coming out with something called the chipless RFID within the next 3 to 4 years, which is going to bring the cost of actually having this technology specific to retail segment drastically down, which is going to make sure that almost everybody can get into the RFID technology, right? So that is something that we are actively working on, and we are taking active feedback from our ecosystem partners on what we can do to enable that quicker. But in general, that is the idea: connect the data to the likings of a customer based on what they do with that data.
Thank you so much. Now I'll come to another aspect, which is robotics. Right now, very quickly, if any one of you would want to kind of share with the audience in terms of how have you used robotics within your space, back end, front end, wherever, it'll be nice to know.
We have done it in a Miamisburg warehouse, but it's a combination. Robotics as such alone on its standalone technology is not too helpful. It's a combination again of robotics, AI with RFID, which is actually enabling the entire rollout of that particular warehouse, right? We use it mainly for warehouse management, inflow and outflow of raw materials coming in. It gives you the real-time visibility, and it works in that part of the world. In India, the infra is still not ready, but we are seeing we do a lot of work with Amazon in India as well, and the infra is getting ready. And I think slowly but definitely it is going to play a major part, and that is also going to have its effect on the retail space as well, because we are seeing a lot of these big brands also moving into robotics for the day-to-day thing at the mall level or shop level also.
Okay, Anil, your thoughts?
We have not used heavily onto it, but yeah, some parts to it. As rightly said, it can't be solo running out there. Not huge. Again, the use cases again from the supply chain part of it, but not a huge go for it.
Okay, but maybe as the days goes by, the future would see a lot of robotics. I mean, of course, like you said, not in silos, but then as a combination of these technologies come up.
For sure, for sure.
Brilliant. Now, so that gets me to I've kept this one to the last because this is something that everyone's talking about. We started talking about AI, and even before we could figure out what AI is, Gen AI came up, right? And then everyone's talking about generative AI. Very, very honestly, hand on heart, how is your organization adopting AI, Gen AI? Give some very practical examples of how you're doing it today. Anyone can start.
So before we have to go one step back, is your organization ready for AI? Is AI will certainly transform the industry, the way how you are interacting with your customer or how you are managing your operations, how you are getting efficiencies in your entire backend, everything, no doubt, there are use cases and it will work. But first question to be addressed is, are you ready for it? Do you have a right data sets? And are you having a clear cut plan when you want to get into AI and how far your team, the management is understanding about it. Otherwise, it will be a just project you implement because see, currently it's a small use cases which is happening, like talking about creating feedback systems, interacting with customers. But these are not the real AI. If you have to bring a complete AI into your business, you should have a right CDP layer, your loyalty programs, your sanity of data should be there, and your customer interact to like self-ordering kiosk, your mobiles can become more personalized, and the menu laddering can be instantly changed, and your promotion optimization. Today, we throw promotions, say at an average 10%, 20%, 30%. Most of the promotions are not really required by the customer. It has been picked because it is there. So there is a lot of use cases which can make this optimized. Who need a promotion, who need a product without promotion can be classified, that can be bought. And more than that, being a technology leaders, we also need to look at how it is helping you to protect your cyber securities. Because today we are using many technologies, bits and pieces. The security layer is always vulnerable. That is not a defensive system. So I think AI will really help in a proactive way to help us to understand that if any breach is there. So these are some of the use cases which will really help for business.
Anil, to AI or not to AI?
To AI. That's no to AI, but largely most of the industry it's been largely used to analyze your data. So your BIs, AIs, and everything are running on that. Two factors where they run largely is one on the front end with your customers for your interactions with the customers and so on and so forth. That's been brought on more on AI basis. On the back end, it run on your data sets, which is there already, both from to understand your product lines and assortments and all other factors. And secondly, to make sure that productivity goes up where you have the opportunity. Largely, that's where the AI is right now running on.
Perfect. So, from the discussion that we've had, it's very, very clear that adoption of technologies, new, old, future, depends a lot on the use cases that we internally build up and drive conviction for those. And the second is the fact that these impact customer experience, supply chain efficiencies, as well as operational parameters almost simultaneously, all of them, right? So I think this was a nice set of discussions that we had here on stage. Thank you so much, gentlemen. If I can take one question, if you have a question for these folks out here, I will do that now because I see people lining up to just throw us out of stage, off stage. Anyone? So just as we are walking in, Ashim made a big prediction that AI will, take the role of the moderator at the next ReTechCon. So that's what he's predicting. No questions? One question. Yes, Ranjit. See, AI can't do that.
Anil mentioned that in LuLu, they are using some kind of digital mirrors to check the fit of customers. But isn't that personally identifiable information? What are you doing to make sure that you conform with the IDPR that will come up subsequently? And that's highly personal data, right?
So it's purely from a consent perspective. So when you're there, you're giving a consent that should I proceed or not. then only I go to all this, what I've said. So that part of so the DPDP which is going to come up talks a lot about this aspect. And previously we used to do all metadata of that person, but now when we go in more and more deep, we take a consent on each factor saying that, and also we tell them that how long are we going to keep this there with us, and how far it will be erased for us.
And just to wind this up, I really wanted to also focus on ethics in AI. That's why I kept it towards the end. But then, unfortunately, we didn't have time. Ethics in AI will have to address two dimensions: respecting rights and addressing risks. I mean, if you look at the European Union's adoption of AI-related rights, the laws, they are very, very clear in terms of these two aspects. And Tirthankar mentioned about face screening. That's something that's going to come under the axe, because in terms of respecting rights and addressing risks. So that's it. Thank you so much for being such a lovely audience. Appreciate the patience. Thank you so much.